In the past few years, a whole industry has sprung up to sell itself as the cure to screen addiction. There are gadgets that'll lock you out of your mobile device and subscriptions that'll swap your smartphone for a flip phone. These types of friction-inducing tools are increasingly being used by young people. 63% of Gen Z say they are intentionally trying to disconnect from their devices. And to be honest, some of these things can genuinely help reduce screen time. But with these low-tech gadgets, are people just paying one industry to undo what the last one did to them? I put all this to Christine Rosen, a historian and author who's written about what we lose when we start living through our screens. I wanted to start this conversation with this little object called brick, which is like a puck, and you pay $59 for this plastic thing, and it locks you out of your phone temporarily, and then you have to go back to the puck and put your phone against it in order to get back into your phone. And what you're really paying for is inconvenience, right? You're paying to distance yourself from your phone. And the irony for me is that I think even 10 years ago, technology companies were trying to remove friction from our lives. Now we are paying technology companies to put back friction into our lives. How much of a phenomenon is this?
I think this is the future, because we did create a world that made everything so seamless, on demand, convenient. And what we found living in that world for a while is that it didn't really make us happy. It created a lot of new issues in terms of cultivating impatience and lack of long-term thinking and planning. And people didn't like it. Just the experience of being always on and always available warred against our natural desire to have private space, to have downtime, to have open time. And I think the brick is like lashing ourselves to the mast so we don't go towards the sirens. And we will see more and more of these, I think, in the future, because on the one hand, we can't really give up these devices. They're integrated into so many aspects of daily life at this point. On the other hand, we are really aware now about how they make us unhappy, how they make us actually less productive, and many of the ways in which they might be actively harmful to day-to-day life.
Are there other things that we're doing to introduce that friction into our lives, that kind of anti-tech friction into our lives? Is it all part of one trend, do you think?
I think there is a larger trend, and interestingly, a lot of it's being driven by the Gen Zers and rising Gen Alphas, the young people who grew up with these things. They have been under constant digital surveillance their entire lives. Their baby photos were on Facebook before they were sentient about what a camera even was. And now as young adults and entering the workforce, they start to realize they don't want to be bound all the time to this electronic tether. So you see them doing things like going to analog for getting together, making sure the phones are kept away, even getting flip phones. And so I think those are all very, this makes me very heartened about the younger generation, for which we hear a lot of negative news about their experience with technology. They don't want to live their lives through the screen any longer.
But it seems to me that with things like the brick, we're paying for one kind of technology to free us from another kind of technology. And I'm wondering if it's something that we're kind of commoditizing in that way. Is that genuine recovery? I don't know if there needs to be a kind of, 12 steps program, and there probably will be. I bet you there will be a 12 steps program soon for tech addiction. But I suspect they might say is you can't replace one piece of tech with another piece of tech. Do we just have to do this ourselves for it to be lasting?
The tendency to develop a technology to solve the problems that a previous technology created is very common. And I think we should also be concerned about some of the inequalities that are going to be baked into these new escapist technologies, because they're probably not going to be affordable for everyone. So there is a lot of commodification built into what these tools are likely to be on offer for consumers. So we do have to practice individually, but I think at a social level, we also have to start being much more skeptical when these tools are being integrated into our work and school lives and private lives.
And as you say, I mean, whether it's tech that is designed to get us off tech, or tech for some other reasons, a company's making money out of this, right?
Exactly.
I mean, brick is obviously being sold for money. That company is making a profit, which is kind of ironic in itself. And you've said in the past that there isn't an app for impulse control. And maybe actually this starts with all of us recognizing that we are addicted to these, and that we need to address that impulse control by ourselves. Just depending on some other company to do it for us is not necessarily going to be as as long lasting as if we do the hard work ourselves.
That's exactly right. The liberation of knowing I can sit in a room. Pascal gave us this challenge, right? I can sit in a room by myself and just be. I have thoughts in my head. I can explore how my mind is working. These should not be luxury goods. This should not be something that you have to pay a fortune or go on a fancy spa retreat to achieve. This should be what we want for everyone, to have moments of quiet, moments of contemplation throughout their day where they can recover and regroup. And I think that's what the aim should be, not saying this stuff is all bad, we should never use it, but really actively seeking out those positive experiences away from technology when we can.
You sound, Christine, quite optimistic about younger people and their ability to look at this and see what they have traded away and their desire to get back those experiences. So what advice do you give to a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old who is realizing that they are spending too much time on their phone, that they're losing this ability to have human connections, to have boredom, to have other experiences?
Be skeptical and questioning about these tools, because who do they benefit? First of all, you're told they benefit you, but they also benefit, whether it's a corporation or a government that's surveilling you, whatever, there is an institution that's going to benefit from your use of these. Why do they want you to use them? The second thing I always say is ask what's not on the menu. So when you open a new app and you think, wow, look at all these great things I can do. I'm in control of this, that, and the other. What are you not allowed to do and why? And finally, before you even decide to embrace a new tool, ask a bunch of questions about how it might interfere with your friendships, with your relationships with your loved ones, with your employer. There's a lot of ways in which these tools insinuate themselves into our daily life. And then when we wake up one day and realize, oh, I can't park my car because I don't have the right app. Right. That means I have to have a smartphone. I have to know how to download an app. I have to do all these things. How did we get here? And so I think this younger generation, just questioning always, not assuming that these tools are going to always be better than what came before, because every new thing is not necessarily an improvement. Do you
feel, just to close, Christine, do you feel optimistic that we have woken up to this issue and that it's going to get better, or would that be too positive an interpretation of how you feel?
I would call myself cautiously optimistic after a lifetime of studying human behavior and technology use, in which I was probably more of a pessimist. And the optimism springs from that questioning, skeptical attitude of this younger generation. I mean, obviously, I have skin in the game. I have 19-year-olds. So I really hope that they continue down this path. I think the challenge will be with AI, which I think, again, the narrative of inevitability is something that this generation does not accept uncritically. They are asking the right questions, and they're doing it because they had the experience on social media and with smartphones from a very young age, and it hasn't all been positive for them. So they want to make tools and technologies that work better for them as human beings, and that's, I think, the goal that we should all have for ourselves and for each new generation.
I love that. I agree with you. I do look at the younger generation, and I think they went through the social media thing. They saw it in middle school, they saw it in high school, and they didn't love it. And now they are looking much more carefully at what they consume and what they want to be developed and what they want the tech companies to be developing as well. Christine Rosen, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. It's such an interesting conversation.
Thanks for having me.